Hello everyone, welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike. So today it is April. We are moving into the warmer months of the year. Yeah, I know, summer is on its way. It's gonna be like 35 degrees for the next 3 months or 4, 5, 6 months, a long time. So at this time of the year, as we head towards the summer and the hotter temperatures, you might be like me and you're thinking about how to stay cool in the coming summer months. And a fan is a really good thing to have around. Air conditioners are great, but A, they're expensive, B, you can't move them around, they're only in one room, and C, they use a lot of power, and of course that costs you money. So maybe a good fan is something you want to invest in. So we're going to be looking at some of these newer types of fans. You might have one at home, or you might be like me, you don't have one at home, but every time you see them in the shop or in the store, you go, that's kind of cool. I kind of like that fan. It looks very special, and whoa, look at the price. They're sometimes a little bit expensive, but bladeless fans are a thing. They're around. You've probably seen one. Maybe you're lucky enough to own one, but if you're like me, you've looked at them and thought, hey, cool, I wish I had more money. And then, how does that work? Because these are bladeless fans. A fan is something that has this turning thing, right? Like little wings on it, and as it turns, the little wings push the air blows, it blows past you, it cools you off, everything is good, yes? But without a blade, is it a fan? And how is it moving air when there's nothing moving the air? It's all very confusing. So we're going to be talking about how do bladeless fans work, and hopefully by the end of the article, we will all understand. Which of the following best summarizes how bladeless fans work? A, they increase air temperature using scientific principles. B, they use air pressure to increase airflow. C, they create airflow by using magnets. Or D, they use liquid to move air through a hoop.
Air multiplier fans, or bladeless fans, are able to create much more airflow than standard fans. Although they are called bladeless, there are actually small blades inside the fan's base. So how do these fans multiply airflow? First, the fan's interior blades suck in air through openings in the base and send it up into a hollow cone-shaped hoop attached to the base. Air escapes outward through a tiny slit that runs around the inside of the hoop. The air is guided toward the front of the fan by the shape of the hoop, flowing from the narrow end to the wide end.
All right, so bladeless fans. If you don't know what they are, I'm sure there's a picture right there you can have a look at. And yeah, this is an interesting word. We don't use this word very often, bladeless. That means it doesn't have blades. If something is less, that means that thing is not here. So a smokeless environment is very nice. The air is clean because no one is allowed to smoke in that area. So a bladeless fan. This gets a little interesting because a fan really is, it's a fan. It's something with moving stuff that pushes air, and usually that's done with a blade, which is why we call it a bladeless fan. So anything bladeless is something that should have blades or often has blades, but now it doesn't. I can't think of anything else except maybe bladeless scissors that use like lasers to cut, but that's from a science fiction movie. That's not real. Anyways, bladeless fans, they are real. You can find them at the local 3C store. And here's something cool about them. Bladeless fans are quieter than regular fans. Yes, that's often true. They don't spin around, they don't push the air, they kind of move it in a different way, so that can make them quieter. But they have another name. It says air multiplier fans. That's sort of the business term, what the engineers would call them. But if you go to the store, you can use this other term. Air multiplier fans, or bladeless fans, use that term, are able to create much more airflow than standard fans. And of course, that makes them better as a fan because airflow is air that is moving, and it's this moving air that keeps us nice and cool. And then we read, although they are called bladeless, this is what they're called, there are actually small blades inside the fan's base. So, how do these fans multiply airflow? If they have a fan in the base, it's not blowing on us. So how does the fan actually work? Well, first, the fan's interior blades suck in air through openings in the base and send it up into a hollow cone-shaped hoop attached to the base. So all the action is kind of happening down around the bottom. You might have noticed the base or the bottom part of the fans have little holes in them. That's to allow air to get sucked in and have the air be moved around using the fan that is in there. When you suck something, you're basically using pressure to pull something, especially a liquid or an air, through a pipe or something like that. You might, at home, in the kitchen, have a special fan over your cooking stove, and anytime you have smoke or steam or something coming from your food, you turn on the fan and it sucks that air, that smoke, that nasty smelling stuff away from your kitchen and blows it outside into the outside from a space on your wall or something like that. So that is sucking air. And also, if you use a straw to drink your drink, you are using pressure difference inside your mouth and outside to pull the liquid up the straw into your tummy. Yum, yum. The cooling unit is designed to suck in air at the front and blow it out the back. So this is the part where it actually comes on our front. It's hollow, it sucks in air from one side and blows it out the other side. If something is hollow, that means it has an outside, but the inside is empty. There's nothing on the inside. We usually use this to talk about something that would normally be full, probably, or it's not open on one end. The rabbit hid inside a hollow log and waited for the rain to stop. How cute. And of course, yes, animals often make their homes inside hollow logs and hollow trees. We also had the word cone. A cone is something that is round on one end and it goes to a point. It's kind of like a pyramid, like that, but it's not, it doesn't have sides. It's round all the way around. Think of an ice cream cone. Or here's another one. The clown's hat is shaped like a cone. Clowns or people at parties might wear a cone-shaped hat. Back to the article. And so next we read, air escapes outward through a tiny slit that runs around the inside of the hoop. This is where you will feel the air being blown out on your hand or on your face. This is the way the air gets blown or moved towards you. And then it says the air is guided toward the front of the fan by the shape of the hoop, flowing from the narrow end to the wide end. So it kind of sucks the air in through the narrow end, and that allows the air to come out the wide end and move nice and quickly in order to cool us off. I think these are kind of cool. It sounds like a very interesting way to move air, and it's quiet too. Let's take a break.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天的课文是关于 bladeless fan 无叶风扇的运作原理。那么 bladeless 它就是形容无叶片的，那它就是由 blade 表示叶片，然后搭配这个 less 这个形容词字尾表示没有或者是无，把这两部分组合在一起。好，那我们知道一般的风扇呢是靠叶片来产生风量，但是无叶风扇的这个风要怎么来呢？课文就写到说，无叶风扇能产生比一般风扇更多的气流，虽然它们被称为无叶，可是其实在风扇的底座其实是有小叶片的，然后风扇的内部叶片透过底座上的开口吸入空气，然后把空气往上送到跟这个底座相连的中空锥形气环里面，然后呢，这个空气就会经由气环内侧的细缝向外溢出，它被气环的形状导向了风扇前方，所以这个空气会从窄的一端流向宽的一端。我们来看看单字 suck。它就可以当动词来表达吸或者是抽吸的意思。那么 hollow 它是形容中空的、空心的。 cone 是圆锥体，像我们说 ice cream cone 那个 cone 也是圆锥体嘛。再来 hoop 这个字它可以表达环或是圈，在这边是指气环。那我们看完这些单字你就知道了，文中他说 a hollow cone-shaped hoop 就是中空锥形的气环。好，刚刚 Mike 老师在解释 cone 这个单字时，他有提到 pyramid。P-Y-R-A-M-I-D 这个字除了指金字塔，也可以指三角锥体。好，这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，这边我们来看看分词片语跟分词构句的比较。首先呢，分词片语是由形容词子句简化而来，也就是它省略了主格关系代名词，然后把动词改成分词。表示主动或进行时，我们就用现在分词 V-I-N-G； 被动的话就用过去分词 PP。举例来说。They visited a castle which was built in the 16th century. 他们参观一座建于16世纪的城堡。那我们看到其中这个 which was built in the 16th century， 它是形容词子句，我们就可以把 which was built 简化成 built， 变成 They visited a castle built in the 16th century。好，那这时候我们就看到 a castle 后面就是直接接了过去分词 built， 这边是分词片语的用法。再来看到分词构句，它是由连接词连接了两个子句，主词相同的话呢，它可以省略连接词跟其中一个主词。表示主动的话呢，我们就把动词改成现在分词；表示被动的话，就是改成过去分词。例如 ，The castle was built in the 16th century。And the castle is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city. 那座城堡建于16世纪，为城市里最受欢迎的旅游景点之一。好，那我们这边就看到它用连接词 and 去连接两个句子，那么前后子句主词一样，都是 the castle， 我们就可以省略 and 还有前半句的主词 the castle。动词部分 was built 是被动嘛，那只要保留过去分词 built， 所以句子就变成 built in the 16th century. The castle is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the city. 那我们最后就简单整理一下，把形容词子句简化，然后改用分词 V-I-N-G 或 PP 来开头，去修饰前方先行词，这就是分词片语用法。那如果是两个有一样主词的句子呢，把其中一句简化，改用 V-I-N-G 或 PP 开头，就会形成分词构句了。那我们接回到课文中。
When the fan is turned on, a stream of fast-moving air exits the slit and flows forward, creating a low-pressure area in the empty center of the hoop. The higher-pressure air behind the fan moves to fill this area of low pressure. This phenomenon is called inducement. Additional airflow gets created through entrainment. As air flows out of the hoop, it drags some of the surrounding air along with it. Through inducement and entrainment, a bladeless fan can multiply airflow by up to 15 times.
All right, so now we have a good idea of what is actually inside the bladeless fan and how it works. What happens when we turn it on? Well, it says when the fan is turned on, a stream of fast-moving air exits the slit and flows forward, creating a low-pressure area in the empty center of the hoop. This is a little bit similar to how air moves around, how wind is created, even how airplanes fly. Differences in pressure can lead things in this area to move to things in this area because of the pressure difference. It says the higher pressure air behind the fan moves to fill this area of low pressure, the same way weather works. This phenomenon is called inducement. That's the fancy scientific or physics term, probably, for how this happens. Additional airflow gets created through entrainment. Basically pulling things along, like a train. You see that word in there? As air flows out of the hoop, it drags some of the surrounding air along with it. So that's basically how this works, and not too different from how that fan in your kitchen also works. It creates differences in air pressure, allowing it to suck, pull, and then blow the smoky air out of your kitchen. Here we had the word additional. This is a great adjective when you're talking about things, and then you want to include other things or more things, all right? So you could use more or extra or additional, right? So we talked about one group of stuff, but this is also part of that group, maybe a little bit different, maybe it happens a little bit later in a different way, but it's definitely part of the same topic or subject. Extra, additional, more. Additional work still needs to be done to fix the hole in the ceiling. Extra work, more work, you get the idea. And we also had that verb to drag. To drag is basically to pull something along. You're not pushing it along, you're pulling it along. You could use the word pull. Often when we use drag, it gives the idea of maybe pulling with a little more effort or energy, but in the real world, with us not talking about air dragging things, when you drag something, it's on the ground. It's probably not on wheels or on a track or anything like that to make it easier to move. It's sitting on the ground, so like I said, it will be a lot harder to drag a box along the ground than maybe if the box is on wheels. That would be much easier. You would pull that box on wheels, you would drag the box that is sitting on the ground, and it would take a lot more effort. For example, Fred dragged his broken luggage behind him as he headed toward an exit. He would have pulled it if it wasn't broken, but the wheels fell off. It's broken, he's got to drag it. Back to the article. Through inducement and entrainment, a bladeless fan can multiply airflow by up to 15 times. Wow, so using the same amount of energy or power, it can be 15 times more powerful or move 15 times the amount of air than a normal fan, which is why a lot of people would say it's a better technology. I don't know, I've never tried one. Back to the question we have for you. This is something we asked at the beginning of the article. We're going to give you the answer, but you should know the answer by now. And our question reads, which of the following best summarizes how bladeless fans work? In other words, in one sentence, what's the main idea? What's the main explanation of how these work? I think it would be B. They use air pressure to increase airflow. As we mentioned, differences in pressure can pull things along. What do you think? What is surprising about a bladeless fan's design? I was surprised that a bladeless fan is not bladeless. It was surprising that it actually has a fan, or it was surprising because of the name, and it actually has a fan, but it's in the base. It's not the fan that pushes the air on our face. So that's a little bit interesting. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. Keep an eye out for these interesting fans when you're around. And if you really want to impress your friends and family, you can explain how they work, because that's interesting for everyone. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
好，那我们继续来看无叶风扇的运作原理。当风扇打开时呢，就会有一股快速移动的气流从细缝中流出，向前流动。那么在气环的中央处呢，就形成一个低压区。那么风扇后面压力比较高的空气就会移动来填补这个低压区。这种现象就称为 inducement， 就是诱导气流效应。 好，那么接着呢，当气流这样流出气环时，它也会拖着周围一部分的空气跟着移动，就会有额外的气流产生嘛。这是属于 entrainment， 就是挟持效应。好，那么就借由这个诱导气流效应，还有挟持效应，无叶风扇就可以让气流大幅增加，多达15倍咯。我们来看看单字 additional， 它是形容词，形容额外的、附加的。那么 drag 在这边当动词就有拉、拖或者是硬拉。 好啦，那么以上这些讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Air multiplier fans or bladeless fans are able to create much more airflow than standard fans. Although they are called bladeless, there are actually small blades inside the fan's base. So how do these fans multiply airflow? First, the fan's interior blades suck in air through openings in the base and send it up into a hollow cone-shaped hoop attached to the base. Air escapes outward through a tiny slit that runs around the inside of the hoop. The air is guided toward the front of the fan by the shape of the hoop, flowing from the narrow end to the wide end. When the fan is turned on, a stream of fast-moving air exits the slit and flows forward, creating a low-pressure area in the empty center of the hoop. The higher pressure air behind the fan moves to fill this area of low pressure. This phenomenon is called inducement. Additional airflow gets created through entrainment. As air flows out of the hoop, it drags some of the surrounding air along with it. Through inducement and entrainment, a bladeless fan can multiply airflow by up to 15 times.
There is a large variety of ribbons that can be used for packaging and decorating, making life more colorful. Take a trip to Ribbon King and you'll find that the world of ribbons is a lot of fun. Ribbon King is a factory that specializes in the production of ribbons and textiles. These products are popular in Europe and the United States. They can be used for Christmas decorations, floral designs, clothing parts, and wrapping material. The M-shaped entrance combines the imagery of 9 turns lane and 1 line sky. Yarn cops were used to make the 3D installation art by the entrance, including cute cartoon characters such as Winnie the Pooh. Different ways that ribbons can be used in everyday life are presented in a series of round windows. Walk into Ribbon King and you can observe how ribbons are made. The DIY wall of rainbow ribbons, the ribbon jigsaw game, and the DIY threading area give visitors a chance to understand the mechanics of weaving. Ribbon King has a large array of products for visitors to choose from. There are so many beautiful ribbons that you can't help but want to buy one of each. The most popular product is the drawstring ribbon. All you have to do is pull the drawstrings in opposite directions, which gathers the ribbon into a bow. The adhesive ribbon is similar to paper tape. Remove the strip covering the adhesive side of the ribbon, and then you can use the ribbon for packaging. The adhesive ribbon can also be used as material for making creative collages. Visitors can also use the ribbons in the complimentary ribbon pack for DIY ribbon dyeing. Afterward, you can practice making the perfect bow and then use the bow to make a wish. In short, Ribbon King is a great place to shop and take part in fun activities.